exploring diverse life paths beyond rigid norms, embracing individuality and personal growth.
That many of us will experience, maybe not in the Western culture, maybe not in the Mormon faith, but maybe in something else. Like, I mean, we see things like crazy stories where if you're homeschooled, and there was this one what girl who thought that, activity between her and her dad was normal because she wasn't like, that was
So
all she
understandable.
knew, and she didn't question it, but she knew it kind of felt wrong. And I hate that I'm drawing parallels to like extreme stories like that, but it just is. I'm just trying to explain that, like, like going through something wildly different and out of this world, and then people become accustomed to it, but don't. It's just like the idea of
Well,
us going along with something that seems so crazy at first, then kind of desensitizes themselves, or like become accustomed to these things and go along with it because everyone else in their world is going along with it too. My family, my soon to be husband, like, and
mm,
we go along with it because this is our world. But then for myself, I question and be like, maybe there's something else out there, maybe there's truth out there. And
mm,
that's how I kind of was like, oh, let me separate myself for a time. I'll come
mm,
back to church
mm,
eventually. I just need
mm,
a break and go and explore and learn, rediscover myself in a new way as being single rather than married, and now in like a fully individual person away from the church, like, so it's just so some people, and I'm thinking about this, and so much thought. So it's like when I'm quiet and I'm listening to you guys talk, and it's like I have all these things going on that's like kind of coming up for me. But just more like, yeah, it's like, where I'm thinking, yes, we express, the differences with like being our experiences in Mormon, being in the Mormon faith, and maybe experiencing the kindness from Mormons, but not necessarily feeling like maybe it's true in their heart because there's that division, because maybe we're different from them, or maybe because I, less active and they're active, and then it's like, oh, but they'll be nice to your face. Like these things, I'm like, astrology has taught me is to accept, and it feels like I'm at peace with this, and that's why astrology resonates with me. It's just the fact that I can I can acknowledge that everyone has their own path. Maybe my parents' path is to be live and die more on like the Mormon hill of faith,
mm,
and maybe my path is different, but I can still love others. And even though they're on the other journey, and even though they could sit there and judge me for breaking away and pursuing my own thing, and that's what I love about astrology is like I've come to appreciate that
mm,
everybody's story is different,
mm,
and people can be in the Mormon faith and live a happy and fulfilled life, and there's
mm,
nothing wrong with that,
mm,
and then there's people who are outside of that who also live a very fulfilling life and still be happy and true to themselves, and it's just like, but nobody's right, nobody's wrong, we're all
mm,
just living our lives.
mm.
Where the right and
Yeah,
wrong
but
comes
that
in is
moral
where we place
relativity,
judgment.
we
Sorry?
we would have like the moral relativity that you just expressed was like antithetical, right? Like to our understanding of the church, because there is a right and there is a wrong. There
Yeah,
is a truth and
yeah.
it is a capital T. And, you know, bear my
Mhm,
testimony that this is the one and only true church on the earth, right?
Mm.
This is the
mhm,
voice of God. This is, so it actually, it's a beautiful place, I think, to get there because that's where I'm at too. Like we're sitting in that together of opening our eyes and our minds and our hearts to accepting that there isn't right or wrong. What?
mhm.
You know,
Exactly.
but
Yeah.
that's bonkers within the faith.
Mhm.
Did you guys hear in the first Frozen, the main song, there's one of the lines where she says, no right, no wrong for me, I'm free. And it's the main character is coming out as, this ice queen person, whatever. And I remembered at the time, oh, I hated it
Mm.
because that was, how dare you say no right, no wrong?
Mm.
How
Mm.
that is do not, and all these little kids are singing that song over and over and over. And it was my oldest favorite movie at the
Mm.
time. he had not come out, but was wrestling with it. And so the show itself embodied my child's thoughts and feelings. And I knew
Mm.
it. Like
Mm,
inside me, there was this sense of like, no, 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 don't give in to that moral relativity. There is a right, there is a wrong.
Mm.
mm,
And so
mm,
that was a big step for me. And
mm,
like you say, with astrology, being able to see that the truths are
That's
as varied and vast as every person.
mhm, mhm,
that's another one that we could really dig into. You're right. I mean, like now that you think about it, I do remember like this focus on choose the right is about rightness. There's
mm,
moral
Absolutely.
rightness. It's not something that I've had to think about for a long time, but yeah,
mhm.
that's it's
Uh,
interesting.
That's like
Yeah,
foundational.
Yeah,
yeah,
you
and
forget that. You forget
I think
when you're away from it long enough, you kind of forget.
yeah, and I think astrology threatens that framework of right and wrong,
Hmm.
because there's no moral qualification in astrology like there is in religion or in Mormonism, and so we can't have that. Like, it's like right and wrong. God has said what's right, what's
Mm.
wrong, and
Right.
yeah. So yeah.
Having someone's path be different than that what is prescribed
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
problematic.
Hmm.
And astrology provides endless options where those
Oh yeah,
options
but
divide.
that's why I don't really like in my mind I don't really equate like astrology with like a religion because
Mhm.
it's like it's a system of tools and a
Mhm.
framework that in any religion, faith, or even atheist, you could use these tools. They're just it's
Right.
not yeah, it's not like you're right. It's not like there's not like a morality in astrology that this part is right and that part's wrong
Mhm.
because but because of that it can be utilized in any particular moral framework. Like you could have
Mhm.
all there's a lot of different moral frameworks around the world and they can all tap into astrology.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I think in religion or more Mormonism is there's like this moral sequence of obedience
Hmm.
equal then leads to worthiness, then leads to revelation, and then leads to knowledge. And I think astrology kind of doesn't go by that sequence or doesn't go by that framework. And that's what's threatening about astrology to Mormons, practicing Mormons. Um,
Well, the
Hmm.
first
and
law has always been obedience.
mhm,
Like that is the first law. It's actually
I've
obedience.
heard that before. That's right. What is that? Is that
I believe that's actually even in
in
the
the
temple as well.
that's in one of the articles of faith, isn't it? Isn't that like an article of faith?
Um,
Obedience.
Obedience to the laws and ordinances of the gospel. Yeah.
Obedience. It is in the articles of faith, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another
And,
another thing that I don't really think a lot about is obedience.
mhm.
yeah. You and your New Year's Eve party.
Oh my god.
But that's how you keep people in line, right? Like just if
Gotta
we
keep them
start
in
with
line.
obedience, we cannot start with desire, the
Oh, that would
spark,
just be terrible, wouldn't it? To start with
right?
desire.
But isn't that the divine spark of an individual is desire?
Totally, right?
But you
Mhm,
got to shut that down.
Mm.
mhm,
If we keep it
That's what I mean
obedience,
by
then
the puritanical influence, right? Because I
yeah,
mean, th that was not from what I understand, that puritanical influence was never transmitted to me. I'm not descended from Puritans, so I don't
mhm.
have but whenever I meet that puritanical kind of like experience, it's always a little bit like, "Oh, well, that's kind of strange," you know? Yeah.
But I
mhm,
feel like that's all I knew. When I think about the like we talked about on my story, that path of get married, like
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
perfect, be perfect, get
Mm.
married, have
Mhm.
babies. This is the path, right? And even
Mm.
mhm,
as a
Mm.
parent, as
Mhm.
I'm looking at my kids' paths and going, okay, wait a second, this thing that we were given where you graduate, you go on a mission, you get married, You know, you get your education, you've got the temple, you've got the covenants, you know, all those things it is a perfect path, right? It's a conveyor belt. Just do, do,
Mm-hmm.
do, do, do. And it worked for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of people, it still does.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's when you've got the rebel that jumps off of the conveyor belt that it throws the whole thing, you know, but that is the puritanical path that I was on. And so all of these things, it's fascinating to me, Ryan. Actually, I think it really opens my eyes that there was a different way of being a Mormon.
Oh yeah.
In my understanding, in the circles that I'm around, my friends, my family, it's all that. It is
Oh
like,
yeah.
I have all these kids and this isn't me, but I know quite a few women. I have all these kids and I don't want them. I would not have chosen them. I love them now. I will do my part, but I never would have chosen that.
Wow.
But it's what we do.
Wow.
There's no thinking on our own. There's no personal desire. It is fulfill that.
Wow.
If you get a degree, you go to BYU and you get a degree in childhood and family development so you can be a good mom. That's what you do.
I remember people saying things like that. And I do remember, like at BYU Hawaii, the people from Utah were definitely different. Like, you know, like it was like, you know, like they were like, you know, I mean, they were small. The Utah Mormon population at BYU Hawaii was small.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. Because they only, I don't know what it was like, Bianca, when you were there, but when I was there, they only allowed 500 non-Polynesians to go to school.
I didn't know what the limit was.
When I was there, it was 500. And so of those, only a certain portion of them would be from Utah.
Well, why would you go to Hawaii if you're a resident to BYU, the coveted BYU that is here in Utah? Like everybody wants to go to BYU if you live in Utah. And if I'm sorry, you're a loser. You didn't make it. You go to BYU-I, right? Like, sorry, your grades weren't good enough. You got to go to Idaho. You know, like,
right.
That was the Mormon path.
I think with my international friends from America, some were from Utah, some were not from Utah. And I think the difference wasn't so much that in terms of how strong they were in the church, although, yeah, like there were some really staunch Mormons coming from Utah. But I think maybe the difference was maybe more around the cultural aspect of Mormonism versus maybe just a standard Western way of living, or a Polynesian, or like a more like Polynesian way of living. Like it was more like there was a culture that they brought with them, like this ingrained way of doing things that was just slightly different to the way other people from other states or other cultures or other countries did things. And it wasn't right or wrong, it was just different. Just like they would think that I'm different coming from New Zealand, right?
Like I remember it was like the Utah Mormons who would look side eye at drinking kava.
Oh yeah.